Joining me now is Congressman John Garamendi, Democrat from California, a member of the House Armed Services Committee. He's opposed to military intervention in Syria. And Congressman, did anything you saw tonight change your mind on that score?
No, not on the score of military action in Syria, but certainly I'm enthusiastic, optimistic, and really excited about the potential of the Russian overture, which could take the chemical weapons out of Syria and eliminate that entire problem. That needs to be pushed. We need to embrace it, and we need to really make it happen.
So far, we've seen promising signs from a number of parties in terms of that possible diplomatic solution. Clearly, the president is working towards it. Secretary of State John Kerry will be going to Geneva to meet with his counterpart from Russia. What is Congress's role over the next week? I think we all had a somewhat clear understanding of where Congress stood in relation to this when the president announced he was going to come to Congress for a vote. Now the vote has been delayed. What do you see as your role over the next week or 2 weeks or however long it takes for this diplomatic process to play out?
Well, I think there's two things. The first is we need to make Russia own this. It's their concept, it's their idea, Syria is their client, and we need to make them own it. It's the credibility of Russia that's at stake now, and we need to make that very, very clear. We also, I'm sure that many of my colleagues who want to see some sort of resolution pass the House and the Senate, they'll be working on language. But this is an ever-evolving situation, one in which we may not be able to have final language. I expect I'll oppose it, but nonetheless, final language just in case this doesn't work out.
Do you think, if you had to place a wager right now, that there will ever be a vote in the House on language? It seems to me that the delay now opens up the likelihood of there never actually being language come before the House of Representatives.
Well, I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case because that would be a direct result of the success of this particular effort to try to take those chemical weapons out of Assad's hands and put them under international control and hopefully the quick disposal of them. We're not there yet, but if that happens, you're right, there will not be a vote. If, on the other hand, it fails, I think there must be a vote. I don't think the president has the power to do this on his own, but we'll see. I'm optimistic. I am very, very optimistic. This thing's evolving very fast. There will be language issues in the UN resolution for sure, but we need to get past that. We need to really put the pressure on all of us, particularly on Russia, to honor its commitment to make this happen.
One possible negative consequence of this, and I agree with you, I'm very optimistic about the developments today, but one possible negative consequence is that the longer this plays out and the more congressional oxygen is sucked up with this, the less congressional oxygen there are for things like the continuing resolution and for the debt ceiling and for getting rid of sequestration and comprehensive immigration reform. Do you worry about the clock being eaten up in a very crowded legislative calendar for the fall?
Of course, and you forgot about the Farm Bill.
Right.
Which also expires. We've got a lot of work to do. This serious thing came up, and it clearly has diverted the attention of Congress, and appropriately so. But we need to get back to those other issues. I do understand that the Republicans are going to put a continuing resolution which will continue to fund the government after the end of September. And they're likely to go even below the level of funding of this year, which is equal to the 2008 funding. That isn't going to create an enormous crisis throughout the United States. So we'll see. We got a lot of heavy lifting out ahead over the next couple of weeks.
Congressman John Garamendi, thank you so much for your time tonight.